Welcome to our You Don't Know What You Don't Know Summit, where our speakers share the challenges they've faced and the powerful lessons they've gained along the way. Each of them has turned adversity into growth, transforming their lives from simply surviving to truly thriving. Jillian Joy is a teacher, guide, and founder of Legacy with Joy and The Lux Life Unleashed experience. She helps women create special, redo that one, little edit. She helps women create, She helps women create personal and financial freedom through community, clarity, and connection. Her message today, Why Women Need Women, reminds us that growth happens together and that we truly don't know what we don't know. Welcome, Jillian.
Thank you so much, Yvonne. And it's life is a journey, right? And that's sort of, where I'm going to sort of start with a little bit. And we all have a story. We all have a story that begins from the moment that we're born. And it all goes back to our parents, and our moms who they knew what they knew at the time when they had us. And there's no, guidebook or manual that teaches them. So they knew what they knew, and we kind of just come alongside them as they are growing, as they are changing, as they are becoming, parents and moms. And so my journey is possibly, similar to others, where I had a love for nature as a child. I would be found sitting in the park on the swing, singing my little heart out, typically talking to God and just singing to Him and just appreciating the beauty and the nature that surrounds me. And as a young child, we moved around a lot. So I found myself being born in Newfoundland, ending up in Saskatchewan and Alberta, and then finally Ontario. And with all of those changes and all of that moving around, it provides some exciting opportunities to meet, new people. It created a really close-knit family unit with my family because whenever we moved, we just had each other. So communication was always great, and we had a lot of fun times together. And we used to always say we're all best friends. And so I was very blessed in that manner. Now, during that time, obviously, life happens and there's things that happen outside of our control in some ways. And then you begin to get older and begin to experience life. And going back to being that little girl, all I ever wanted was to be a mom. I had the dreams of being a mom and, raising my babies and being able to stay home with them until they started school and doing all the things, baking and all that. And I got to do part of that. Fast forward a little bit, I've been married twice. So I got married at 21, my first marriage, two beautiful daughters, and then that didn't happen. And then I got married again and had my third beautiful daughter. So I'm a mom to three girls. They have taught me so much. They have been my biggest teachers in life, where I didn't have that manual about how to be a mom. And I really didn't know how to navigate, life, especially being in tumultuous relationships and probably not so healthy ones also. So during that time, I was going through a lot of self-discovery. I actually went to intense therapy, psychotherapy, when I was pregnant with my first daughter because I had experienced some trauma when I was younger. And the reason why I'm sharing that with you is because even though life kind of, threw a lot of things at me, I always felt really deeply connected to my intuition, and there was always a voice there that led me to make certain decisions or go down certain paths. And something told me, Jillian, you need to do some work before you become a mama so that, you can be, the best that you can be with what you know, right? And because I had no clue, I had no idea. I only had an idea of what it was to be a mom. And my mom was a professional woman. She did it all. She cooked, she cleaned, she was worked in the bank, so she worked literally 9 to 5. And I felt, even though my mom was very present, she also wasn't really there for me for a lot of things that I would have loved to have been able to talk to her about. She was raised in a way that they talked about nothing, right? The day that she left at the age of 18, I think she said that was the first time that her mom said that she loved her. So I was raised with a mom who didn't really know how to show affection and how to, you know, just be in that capacity of being a mom and being really, really present and connected because she didn't have that. So she didn't know what she didn't know and what she didn't have. So I knew that I needed to do some work myself. And my mom also didn't have female relationships. She didn't have, friendships, all due in part to a lot of the moving that we did. So fast forward to again when I start having my babies and my family, and I'm like, I need community. Like I'm craving community. I need connection. I need to be around other women. And that's when I experienced, going to moms groups and, connecting with my neighbors who are also were young parents. And I thought, okay, so this is what it really is about to be in relationship with other women. And unfortunately, though, because I was in relationships that were controlling and or codependent, I was alone a lot, but there was also a lot of shame there because I didn't have the marriage, that I expected to have. So I tended to segregate myself and I was alone a lot. I'm someone who wears my heart on my sleeve. My emotions are, can be very raw and real. And for me to be around other women, I didn't want them to know that I was struggling, that I was a new mom, that I was having a hard time with a lot of things in life. So going through, the therapy and stuff allowed me to be that much more present, with my first daughter and then going forward. Fast forward a number of years, just a decade ago, I'm like, something's got to give because I experienced my first severe loss. My dad died pretty suddenly at the age of 69, so almost 11 years ago. I've always been interested in, human behavior and psychology. And I was that kid in public school who was picking up encyclopedias and, books on psychiatry and psychology, and always thought I was going to be a psychologist when I grew up. And I was invited to a weekend, and I think it was called Designing Your Destiny or something like that. And I'm like, oh, this sounds really great. Well, this is where I was introduced to the world of NLP, neuro linguistic programming, and hypnosis. And also being raised in a Christian home, I only thought of hypnosis as the stage hypnosis, right? Getting on the stage and quacking like a chicken and clucking and all that and being made to do things. I thought it was about mind control. Well, was I ever wrong? The things that I learned in that weekend empowered me. I was there with other women and other people and just a lot of different ages and stages, people in their lives. And I realized that we really do have a control system, an inner technology that guides us, right? That there is our biology is equipped to lead us, to direct us. And when you discover that, and when you realize that your mind is opened up, you're like, oh my gosh, I don't just, I'm not just a bystander in my life. I actually get to be a little bit more active and control what's happening in my life. So I began to realize that my emotions were signals for me to pay attention to what was going on in my life. And then when I recognized that if I changed my state, if I changed my environment, my biology would match up with that and sync that. And then neurologically, I started feeling different. When I started feeling different, I knew I wanted different. So that's when I started making certain decisions so that I could live the best life that I knew I deserved. So I made some changes, some big changes. It was a very, very trying time in my life because even though I learned these certain skills, and then eventually decided to actually become an master NLP practitioner. And I even went as far as becoming a trainer of hypnotherapy. I have my own school of hypnotherapy where I get to teach others self hypnosis and higher self hypnosis. And that's a beautiful thing. But during that time, I was still in the thick of it. I was in the thick of divorce and access, with my former husbands. And it was a very, very difficult time. However, if I didn't have those tools that I had learned, I don't believe that I would be where I am today. And where I am today is just 2 years ago, my partner in shine, my twin flame, my soulmate, and I decided to get out of the rat race in Toronto in the catering food industry world, and we moved to Costa Rica. And a lot of people say, well, Jillian, you're so lucky. And I'm like, well, I don't really think luck has anything to do with it. What happens is that you make a decision. So when you have information and you want different, you want to be different, and you want to enjoy life, you make certain decisions. And it all comes down to making a decision, right? When you make a decision, when you become aware that you want different, that sets the stage for everything else to come into your life. And it's a beautiful, beautiful place to be. Now, it hasn't been easy either, right? So basically, we went from the frying pan to the fire, or I forget how it goes. But basically, what happened is that we came here and we decided to open a restaurant. We were so convinced that that was going to be the best choice for us and the best decision. But what we didn't realize is that with anything new, with anything, that you want to take on, there's going to be surprises and there's going to be bumps in the road and there's going to be certain things that possibly derail you. But again, did it really derail us? Now I get to have my online community. I'm getting back to doing the work that I was doing because going a little bit back, you may be asking, how did you get into the food industry if you were, had your own practice and working, in that capacity? Well, during the pandemic, I put my practice on hold to come alongside my partner in shine to run his catering company. And then it became ours and we became burnt out. So that led us to coming to Costa Rica to focus on our health, to focus on living a different life. And we really didn't know what we didn't know. But we're here and we get to live such a beautiful life. And we have these tools and strategies. And now I get to guide others to do the same thing: financial freedom, personal freedom. And it's really, really it's really wonderful. When I talk about this, I realize that over the years, women truly do need women. Okay, we are not just just there to have children and be in relationships. We carry such power being women. We are creators. We are nurturers, and unfortunately, history knows this. So when people or history come into place and they realize this, they try to control that part of women. And the light can get dimmed when those parts of us get controlled or hurt. However, our light never goes out. And when we connect with other women, there is a remembering about who we really are and about what we are made of. And we have all of the tools, all of the strategies that we need to rise together, to come together, to support one another in everything, in every age and every stage of our life. When I was just back home in Canada for a visit, my eldest daughter got married. So here we have another beautiful story happening. Couldn't be more proud of them. They're such a beautiful young couple. And unfortunately, my best friend's husband passed away at the age of 52. I never thought in a million years at my age would I be supporting my best friend with the passing of her husband at the age of 52. I even went as far as doing her eulogy. So we wrote her eulogy together, and it was a love letter to her husband. And I got up and I read her eulogy, her love letter to her husband, because she was not able to do it. And that's what we do for women. And we come alongside one another. We love one another. We're not here to compete. We are here to connect, to truly bring peace and prosperity and abundance when we come together. And this is now what I do in my community. I support other women in everything to do with mindset, with health and wealth as well, learning how to access that inner technology and come together as a collective to really live the life that we were created to live. Um, so I could keep on going. Yvonne, I'm not too sure of my time. I don't have a timer. I'm so sorry.
Oh, you're
Um,
only half done.
I have done. Oh my
You're only
gosh.
at 15 minutes, 16
Okay,
minutes. You're
so
good.
okay, fabulous. So I don't know if you will, do what you need to do, but I'll go into more depth of the history of women. So years ago, women used to sit along the riverbanks and sit, around fires, and they would come together and they would share stories and they would talk about herbs and healing and support one another. And gossip actually well, it was actually known as God's sibling. But unfortunately, over the years, it's been made into a very, very not a positive thing. And, we're taught don't gossip, etc. However, gossiping in the respect of women coming together to support one another, to teach each other things, to again remind us that we're not broken, right? We just need to get back to remembering who we are, like the little Jillian, sitting on the swing, remembering the innocence, remembering the importance of that I have a gift and we all have a gift. And in my community, I help you learn what those gifts are, what that specific gift is, and then teach you how to share that gift. So, unfortunately, as we, get on in years, we have been disconnected from women. We have been put in situations where we are trying to do it all. We are trying to be moms. We are trying to take care of the home. We are unfortunately expecting a lot of our spouses and our partners, almost to not a healthy place. I do believe that our partners and our spouses are integral to our healthy homes and healthy relationships. But sometimes we put expectations on them to support us in an emotional capacity. Sorry, it's my doggy. He's really wanting attention. I'm talking to somebody else other than him right now. um, and so we put some expectations on our spouses and our partners sometimes that is unfair to them, right? They're wired a little bit differently. Archaeologists say that men are known as the fight or flight response. And as they have evolved, into the hunters, gatherers, that's sort of been their role. But anthropologists call us, oh my goodness, Brian, anthropologists call women tend and befriend. That is our natural response system, is to tend to others, to befriend and take care of one another, take care of our families. When we don't have that, and when we live in isolation, it cuts off our intuition. It we don't thrive in isolation. We do not, well, we almost don't survive, right? When we are trying to do it all, when we are becoming the independent woman who feels that she has to do it all, and we don't. So when women come together in community and supporting each other with, words of affirmation or kindness or acts of service, or just sitting there and, being in silence, holding space for your friend, or, for maybe even a woman that you don't even really know. That is a beautiful, beautiful thing. And together we become stronger, and together we heal. And there is a healing in the collective when women get to this place in their lives, when they know and remember, when they get back to remembering who they are. And that is such a beautiful, beautiful thing. When you get up to a certain age, like myself, I personally have been in this time warp, per se, where I have begun to think of my time as currency. I am so protective over my time, how I spend it, who I spend it with. And I pray for our younger women who, think that they have all this time, and they have, all the time in the world to do what they need to do, or I'll wait till tomorrow, etc. But time is precious, and I think we really need to be careful about how we're spending our time and who we're spending our time with. So, again, finding communities, finding places that you can connect with other women, especially when maybe you're going through a tough time, um, is really a beautiful place to be, to ensure that you are being true to yourself, and being a part of your healing journey. So, our world has become, we're meeting in this capacity, right? We do webinars and we do Zooms, and we really are in a information world, which I think is beautiful, but we have to be discerning as well. So when we are sharing in this capacity, I actually did a lot of my work. I did a lot of hypnosis and a lot of, trauma work, this way, because I believe that when we are even connecting and I can see you, the distance or the space doesn't matter, because we are connecting at such a deep intellectual and frequency that change can happen and connection can happen. And so I'm thankful to be able to live in Costa Rica. I'm literally in the mountains of Costa Rica, and I still get to do my work, and I still get to be in community with women. And because I haven't always had that, I have craved women relationships and being in relationship. And to be honest, my best friend now of almost 20 years is my first true female, like, friendship, because I was always so secluded and I was always so alone. And if I, and I think about, when I was raising my babies and when I was that single mom, if only I had a community like this, if only I had, a summit, to listen to the speakers and listen to their experiences and say, you're not alone, right? That we have experienced similar situations. This is what we did to help us, come through the trauma, to heal from the trauma. I I'm really excited about that. So even though I can't get back the years and the time that I lost with my daughters, this is the huge motivating factor for me now to do what I'm doing, because I get to relish in the time that I have with them now, with my eldest daughter getting married, with her starting her life. My other two daughters are 23 and 18. My eldest is 25. So I'm focused on honoring that time now, achieving financial freedom, achieving personal freedom. So therefore, I can be in that space now, because the past is the past. The past is there for information only. I definitely do not live there. I have healed from my past, and I get to focus on the present moment. And I have a gift to anybody who comes to my community, to the Lux Life Unleashed community. And it is a 5-minute meditation, which helps you find some calm in the chaos. It will help you get a little glimpse into the possibilities of what can be. And if you're finding yourself in a position of feeling alone, I want those who come to my community to know that I'm a message away. When I had my own practice, I even advised my clients to message me, and I said, I will message you right back. I said, when I'm awake. But I wanted them to know that I was there for them. And when women come together in that capacity, we have to really make that a priority, to come together to support one another. And because life isn't always, it's not always pretty, right? It can be challenging and difficult. And I've, had some personal health issues myself lately. However, I have obtained or not obtained, but I have experienced the most beautiful relationships here in Costa Rica. And they said, they came alongside me, Jillian, what do you need? What can I do for you? Let's get together. Uh, and I'm telling you, I've never felt so blessed and supported than I ever have in my entire life. Uh, in regards to knowing, like, you don't know what you don't know, it's very real. So as I was growing up and going through everything that I was going through, I really didn't know that I was in a position of, again, I go back to before when I mentioned before that I didn't know that I had any control in my life. I literally felt like my emotions controlled my life. And I'm so sad and I'm so, depressed, etc. And then I learned some tools and strategies. So I'm actually going to ask you to do a little sort of experience with me, if you don't mind. I'm going to get you from wherever you're standing, or if you're sitting, it's better if you're standing. I want you to um, get into a stance of standing tall and strong, and then put your hands on your hip with your chin held up high, with a great big smile on your face. And I want you to notice the feelings that you experience when you do that. When you have your hands on your hips, when you're standing tall and strong, and your physiology is saying, I got this. I'm feeling powerful. Oh, there he is. That's my dog, Brian. I want you to think, what's coming? How do I feel? What are the emotions that I'm feeling right now? What's happening when you do that, when you get into that power pose, your neurology, there's nothing about motivation here. Your neurology is going to match the state that you're in. And therefore, you're going to have a different experience. And that's as simple as that is. So, you know how babies go from laughing to crying, like within seconds? We have the same ability as adults to be able to go from laughing to crying like that. We have the ability to change our states and our emotions that quickly, but we are not told that we have that ability. So, still standing, I now want you to frown. Let all the muscles in your face just relax. I want you to hunch your shoulders. I want you to just just feel sad. Just let your body hunch and put your hands down by your side and just really feel into like, "Oh, I don't feel good. Like, don't stay there too long though." the when you do this, when you put your body in that physiology, your body is going to react. You are going to feel depressed. You are going to feel sad because your body is reacting to the state that you're choosing to put yourself in. And some people will say that's controversial. I don't choose my emotions. I don't choose to be depressed. I don't choose to be, in that state. And you know what? You're right. There is times when, grief and trauma does happen. I'm not telling you to ignore those emotions. I'm saying they are there as a signal for you to pay attention to, and you do have the ability to respect them, but also don't live there, right? The same with thoughts. Allow thoughts to come and go. We have over 90,000 thoughts during every single day, but we don't entertain all the thoughts because if we did, we'd literally go crazy. So pick and choose what thoughts you're having. If you have some thoughts that are coming to you that are not in alignment with your goals, your dreams, your aspirations, ask questions as to why they're coming in, because you may begin to uncover some limiting beliefs, some beliefs that you have about yourself that are untrue, that actually may not even be your beliefs, right? So there are stories that I have heard of when a colleague, for example, she was doing some work with a client, and this client always had really big troubles with money and just always felt this really negative, feelings around money and couldn't figure out why. They were successful, they had a great business, and they made money, but they couldn't shake this undeniable like just bad energy and feelings around money. Well, during the work that my colleague did with her client, they discovered that through work that she did with hypnosis and that and timeline therapy, uh, she learned after speaking to her mom and doing some more deeper inner child work, is that her mom and her dad, while she was pregnant with her, constantly fought about money, constantly fought about money. There was never um, there was never peace about it. There was always discord and sort of, anger around money, and there was no peace. So this is what I'm saying. Sometimes the beliefs that we are holding on to, they're not even ours. They belong to somebody else. And when you discover that they're not yours, that is a beautiful thing because you get to release them and let them go. Just let them go. The same as your thoughts. Don't allow those thoughts in and stay too long. Don't invite them for a cup of tea, right? Allow those thoughts to give you information, to give you some data, to ask questions, and then let them go and go about your day. Focus on your goals, focus on where you want to be in life, using tools and strategies that will ensure that you get results. And that's what we're all looking for in life, right? We're all looking for results. We're looking for, results in, say, releasing extra weight. We want that result. Financial freedom. We want the results of financial freedom. And there are certain things that you need to do and steps that you need to put into place to achieve, personal and financial freedom. So when you know different, you do different. And I am so thankful for that weekend that I went and did the training, and I was introduced to NLP and hypnosis, because hypnosis is a part of who we are. It's just, we go in and out of trance all day, every day. There's the driving trance, right? There's the conversational bubble trance when you're in the room full of 100 people, but you're talking to that one person and you're having that conversation and you realize, wait a second, I don't hear anything else going on around me. That's the conversation bubble. That's the rapport bubble that you get into with someone. And then all of a sudden you're like, oh, now I hear everything. And depending if you have ADD or not, you almost, it's hard to come back to that. But when you have the tools and the strategies, you know how to get back to that easier and you know how to achieve that. So I say that in life, we need to have a toolkit. And when we know that our foundation is a little rocky, our foundation is maybe not necessarily built very strong or sturdy, we get to come to a place of awareness that we need to fix that foundation, because you can't build on a rocky foundation, right? You need to have a strong foundation. And that is the work that I've done with my clients in the past, is that we heal the past so that we can work towards the future and build for the future. Your inner technology is there. It's waiting for you to unlock the inner technology. And now I get to incorporate all of the mindset tools and strategies that I have, the inner technology, to then help others with digital technology, right? And have the sort of the whole package of that personal and financial freedom, to have health without hustle and wealth without worry. So again, sorry, I don't know. I don't have time.
Oh, we're right at time.
Oh,
We're
okay.
good.
Okay. I'm so
It's
sorry.
perfect. No, don't worry about it. It's perfect
I
time to.
could, I could keep going on and
I'll
on
be
and
having
on.
more summits because you. I'll just kind of go back because I'll edit that part out. But
Yes.
I just want to say, well, thanks so much for everything. Let me just start again. I'll just keep editing. Jillian, thanks for joining us on this summit today. And your topic's so important. And I found right away, I started connecting with some of the stuff you were saying, because our generation grew up with parents who did not, their love language was not portrayed as touch, we'll just say, or words of affirmation a lot of times. And I think a lot of us struggle with this, and we only know what our parents, especially our moms, told us, because we both have just girls. So I'm not sure with boys how it's different. But it
Yeah.
might be okay because it seems to match the fight or flight versus the tend and befriend. So the
That's right.
boys might not have, our generation of boys might not have had as much struggle. The newer generations, they may
Yeah.
have more struggle because life's changed a bit with the generations. But I also had a mom that was present, but not present in the way I needed her. And recently I realized she showed me everything in a completely different love language
Right.
than I'm in.
Yeah.
And so the connection wasn't there. But if the love language matched hers, then I would have been fine, but it didn't. And
Yeah.
so I totally relate to that. And I also like how you said we do get derailed, and it's really a redirection. We get derailed daily. I mean, like so often. I mean, you hit a red light, you're like, ah,
Yep.
but we don't think of just the little derails. But it's just like, no, just stop and take a deep breath. That could be your red light to regulate your breathing.
Exactly.
And so but I really like how you said the anthropologist. how men are fight or flight and women are tend and befriend, because that is what we've lost. And I like how women helping women and women need women. It's really just paying it forward. We have so much wisdom at a certain age, even if we don't think we do, we do.
Oh,
Because
yes.
we have experienced so much. And I understand now why sometimes our daughters might find it frustrating, because they'll be telling you something and you're like, yeah, been there, but I'm not there now. But I have, like, what you're saying is exactly how I would have behaved as a 20-year-old, and think, why is my mom doing that? But they don't have those extra 30 years of wisdom.
Yeah.
I'm not willing to work 2 jobs anymore. I'm not doing it. I'm not
Yeah.
willing to live in a city when I'm a country girl. And so it does change. It does upheaval. And when we're not responsible for our kids anymore because they've graduated or they're over legal age, they don't live at home
Right.
anymore, that's when we can actually truly experience life. And we don't often realize, wait a second,
Yeah.
like, that's when we need to connect more than ever. Because I think we just get so busy in life, and you join moms groups and you're still just, I don't know, I got some good conversations, but everybody's in survival mode. The conversations when you're in survival mode are not the same conversations when you are thriving.
That's right.
And that's why I thought doing this summit was such a good idea, because we just know things our daughters don't know. A lot of people, even people our age, like, I didn't know until 2 years ago I could be rich, because my family certainly didn't tell me I could be. I didn't even
Yep.
think of it as an option. And you're kind of like, in your 50s, you should know that you could be rich. But if nobody's told you you could, and nobody showed you a way,
That's
and
right.
certainly what you're doing with your job, working for $25 an hour, is not going to make you rich. And we don't have
Nope.
time. A lot of us went through divorces late. We don't have time to make up for losing half of everything, if not
Right.
more. Usually
Yeah.
it's more.
Yeah.
So that's the thing, is when women can show you, hey, we've done this.
Yeah.
It's doable. And I think a lot of people just don't know that everything you said is doable.
100%.
And
Yes.
and so
Absolutely.
that was awesome.
Oh,
Thank you
thank
for
you.
joining today.
Thank you.
And
Me
I will put
too.
your community link underneath in the email, so everybody will
Yeah.
have access to that.
Thank you. It's been wonderful. Thank you so much.
Oh, you're very welcome. And record.